Well, hello there. This is Mr. Flynn. With the snow days we had this week, I've already kind of fallen behind in my classes. So what I want to do is go do the introduction via video for my Track B students. So when you come in on Monday, we can start fresh. So just to get through some of the housekeeping stuff to begin with. My classroom expectations, I don't like to call them rules because if you guys have had Mr. Flynn before as a teacher, you know that I'm not one for rules, but expectations, I'm all about expectations. My first expectation is to be on time. Whether you're at home learning or whether you're at school, I do all my talking at the beginning of class. I explain everything you need to do. I do my lectures at the beginning of class. So if you're going to be late, you're going to miss things that are important. You're not going to know what's going on in class. And so it's very important to be here on time all the time, especially since we don't have a lot of classes to work with. I want to make sure you're getting the most value out of your class time. Come to class prepared. Make sure that you have all materials that you're going to need. If you're doing your work on a laptop or a phone or a tablet, make sure you have those and make sure they're fully charged. I use Teams to do all my teaching. All my notes are on Teams. All the assignments are on Teams. So coming to class every day with a computer, laptop, your phone, your tablet, the key is to have them fully charged because they're not going to do any good if you don't have them charged. So make sure you charge those every day. So be prepared. I guess if you were to sum up my class expectations in one word, I would use the word respect. To me, respect goes a long way in and outside of the school. First of all, I want you to respect my classroom. When you come into my classroom, you'll see that there's lots of projects and items that students have made in the past. The biggest of those items would be the Holocaust Memorial. The Holocaust Memorial was built about 10 years ago by my 11-3 history class, and I want to make sure that you're not damaging it, putting things on it. It holds a lot of sentimental value to me as well because the student who built it tragically died in a car accident about 6 months after finishing it. And it's come a bit of a memorial to him, Mark Bishop, as well. So I want to make sure that you're not doing anything to ruin it, you're not banging on it, you're not leaving garbage in it. That would make me very disappointed. There's many other items that students have made over the years. I don't want you playing with them. I don't want you touching them. I don't mind you asking me questions about them. I'll be happy to answer questions about them. But please leave them where they are because there's someone else's work and it's stuff I kept because I really, really liked it. Respect others in my classroom. I'm assuming everyone wants to pass my course, especially if you're in my grade 11 history classes because you need those courses to graduate. So if people in the class are trying to get their work done, they're trying to pay attention, they're working on assignments or they're working on something, leave them alone. Let's not make lots of noise. Let's not distract them from getting their work done because they want to pass, they want to get a good mark. So allow them that quiet to work. The biggest thing to respect in my class is to respect yourself. If you sit in any of my classes all semester and say, I can't, you are going to be 100% right. Everyone I teach is capable of getting at least a 60 in all my classes. If you work hard, you ask questions, you get help when you need it. Just believe in yourself because I believe in you. That's not just cliche. Everyone I teach is capable of passing the course they're in if they work hard and they believe in themselves. It's simple as that. You can do it. I believe in you. When it comes to music and games in the classroom, while I'm lecturing, while I'm teaching, while you're working on assignments and things like that, you should be focused on those assignments. Especially when I'm teaching or showing a video, you shouldn't be on your phones playing games. You shouldn't be listening to music. You shouldn't have earphones in and that sort of thing. Now, once I'm done lecturing and you're working on your assignments on your own, if you want to listen to music because it helps you focus on the assignment better, I don't mind that, as long as you are not making the music so loud that I can hear it through your headphones at the front of the class. So keep it quiet, but if you need the music to help you focus, by all means do that. If you're done all your work and you want to play a game for a brain break, I don't mind that. But if you're not done your work, you shouldn't be doing anything else in my class except your social studies work or your history work, whichever class you're in. It's important. You'll get much better marks if you use your class time to do your schoolwork rather than to socialize and play games and that sort of thing. Food and drink in the classroom. I don't mind if you eat and drink in the classroom, as long as garbage goes in the garbage can and it's not distracting to anybody else in the classroom. By all means, eat and drink. I get hungry in class as well, and I have to eat something every once in a while. I'm diabetic, so every once in a while I'm crunching on a granola bar as well in case my blood sugar's low. But I like to have a drink of water, a drink of my Diet Coke while I'm teaching sometimes as well. The only caveat I'll put on this is during red phase, I don't want people eating in the classroom. It's just sometimes more of an excuse to take your masks off in class during red phase. So during red phase and orange phase, actually, for that matter, when you have to keep your masks on all the time, I don't want any eating in the classroom. Drinking is fine because you can lift your mask up and take a drink, but eating, you pretty well have to take your mask off in order to eat. But if you can eat with your mask on, by all means, do that. But otherwise, I want you keeping your mask on at all times while we're in the red zone and while we're in the orange zone, just to keep everyone safe. And it helps us keep the school open, so you're not doing learning from home all the time. Fire alarms and lockdown. If the fire alarm sounds, of course, that's indicating whether it's a drill or whether there's really a fire. I'm going to go out the door first. I'm going to lock it on my way out. We're going to go out the door and we're going to turn right. And then we're going to go out the doors to the bus loading zone. Then we're going to turn left once we get to the sidewalk of the bus loading zone and head down to the student parking lot. While we're there, you're going to stand quietly while I take attendance, make sure everyone got out, and then we'll be waiting either to go back in if it's a drill or what our next move is if it's an actual fire. If you are not in the classroom when the fire alarm rings, don't try to make your way to where we will be in the parking lot. Go out the nearest exit and go to with the nearest class. Make sure you tell the teacher you're with that you're in Mr. Flynn's class, and they can inform the office where you are, so I'm not thinking that you're still in the school and it could possibly be on fire. If we go into a lockdown situation, I will turn off the lights. I'll lock the door, and we'll all sit on the floor in the back left corner of the classroom. I'll also make sure that the window shades are closed on my window, and we will sit there quietly, and it's very important to be quiet, whether it's a drill or whether it's a real thing, but you'll sit there quietly until someone from law enforcement comes and unlocks the door for us and lets us know that it is okay. Those are very important things. I know that the chance that something like this that happens in our area is hopefully slim, but it's good to practice, and it's good to keep those good habits in mind when we're in a lockdown. So that's the expectations of the course or of my class. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the course outline, what the expectations are for the class, and what you need to do in order to do very well in the class. Okay? Hi guys, this is Mr. Flynn to talk to you about 11-2 History. 11-2 Modern History is a course that is required for graduation, so it's important that you do your best on this. It does go on your transcripts for university or college or whatever, so if you want to do really well, it's important that you pay attention to what I'm going to be talking to you about in this video today. As you know, we're in kind of a face-to-face and at-home learning situation. If you're at home, I will be leaving some things for you to work on every day you're home. But if you're face-to-face to me, you'll be getting some lectures and you'll be having some time to work on assignments. It's important that that if I give you stuff to work at home, that you do it at home, because if you don't, you might run out of time to get it done, and we don't want that. I want you to be keeping up with the work. Now, I do have this course designed to focus more on skills rather than on content. I still cover about 80 to 90% of the course content, but I'm going to focus on the skills, the historical thinking skills that will help you not only if you're doing history, but if you're doing any course. And it's going to be important that you do your best on each of these skills, because the bulk of your evaluation comes from these skills. So the goal is to focus on these skills. When you look at your course outline online, and all this stuff is on the Teams site, it's important that you go to Teams every day. Again, I'm not going to be doing synchronized teaching each day, but what I'd like you to do is at the beginning of each class, log on to Teams, let me know you're there, and let me know that you know what's going on, what you're supposed to be working on at home that day. So just to kind of read over the course outline with you and explain everything, In this course, students will become familiar with historical processes by tracing the development of the Western world and how key themes have shaped borders and the political ideologies of today. By looking at the rise and fall of European powers and institutions, students will develop inquiry, critical thinking, and analytical skills. These are all skills that are very important no matter what course you're taking. I myself, I have an honors in Canadian history, I have a major in general science, a minor in math, and a minor in English. And in every one of those degrees, I had to communicate. I had to write essays. I had to communicate my ideas. And so the skills you get in this course will help you no matter what you plan on doing after high school. The 6 units that we'll cover in this course are the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, World War I, rise of dictators, and specifically the rise of Adolf Hitler. We'll look at World War II, and we'll end the course with the Holocaust. As I mentioned previously in this video, we will be focusing on the historical thinking concepts. There are 6 historical thinking concepts that we'll be looking at, and they're each worth 10% of your mark. There's historical significance, historical perspectives, ethical dimensions of history, cause and consequence, primary source evidence, and continuity and change. Those skills will make up parts of different assignments you will have in this class throughout the semester. Each assignment with those historical thinking, or each of those historical thinking concepts, I should say, pardon me, are worth 10% of your mark. So if you have an assignment that deals with historical significance, all assignments that deal with historical significance are going to be worth a total of 10% of your mark. The other part of your mark is going to be coming from 3 projects that we do. 2 of the projects, I like to call them mini projects. They're going to be worth a total of 20% of your mark, so probably 10% each. And then there's one big project at the end that we'll be doing on the Holocaust. That's worth 20% of your mark. It's important, as I mentioned, that you always use your class time to your advantage in this class, in this course, whether you're at home or whether you're here at school, because there's a lot of work. I know some people who had me in grade 10 say, oh, the course is easy, we'll get this all done. Well, I'm expecting higher order skills in 11-2 history. So you're going to be doing a lot of reading on your own, you'll be doing some research on your own, and of course I'm going to be here to help you with all that stuff and guide you through it, but you're going to have to take some initiative and do that on your own. I mean, you're in grade 11 now, you're in a grade 11 course, I'm not going to be there to hold your hand and make sure that you're doing everything, but I am here if you have questions. You need to ask those questions if you have them. So students are reminded to follow the simple guidelines posted in class to meet with greatest success. I already talked about those previously. Be on time, be prepared, and respect yourself. Those are most important. This course will have strict due dates. Every time you get an assignment, basically the way the structure is going to work, on Monday and Tuesdays I'm going to lecture to tracks A and B, and then the rest, after I'm done the lecturing, I'll give you an assignment. You'll have the rest of the week, class time and at home time, to work on that assignment. If I give you an assignment on Monday or Tuesday, the due date for that assignment is Friday of that week. However, I will give you a 1-week grace period to get that assignment in. So even though it's due, like for instance on Monday and Tuesday, you're going to get your first assignment on the French Revolution. It'll be due Friday next week. If for some reason you can't get it in to me by Friday next week, I will give you a 1-week grace period where you can hand it in the following Friday. But after that following Friday, that assignment becomes a 0 and you can no longer hand it in. So it is very important that you use your time to your advantage and you keep to the due dates. So once the second Friday comes along and if you haven't handed in that assignment, you've got 0 on that assignment and you've lost a part of that 10% or part of that 20% towards projects. So use your time to your advantage. Make sure you are doing your best and using your class time and home time very responsibly. If you are sick and you miss an assignment or miss some work, it's up to you to get caught up on that. Don't count on me to remember that you were sick on a day. You come up to me and say, Mr. Flynn, what did I miss? Although if you're following along in Teams, everything is in Teams. This course is laid out very well, and it's laid out to help you reduce as much stress as possible. I know this has been a stressful year. I know that things are coming at you fast and furious, but in my 11-2 history class, I've pledged to only give you 1 assignment a week. That's one assignment a week and one project a week. So basically, I should kind of clarify that. Your one assignment, there's going to be a total of 9 assignments, all dealing with historical thinking concepts. There's going to be 2 projects where you'll get 2 weeks to do each of the 2 small projects, and you'll get 3 weeks to do the final project of all of class time. So you're only getting a total of 12 assignments in this course. So that's not asking you, a lot of you. If you happen to be working on your assignments diligently and you have time at the end of the week because you're done your assignment and you want to work on assignments from other courses or work on studying for a test or whatever, you can do that. I have no problem with that as long as you're getting my work done first. That's why this course is designed as it is. So it can relieve some of the stress on your math, English, science courses that I know you're really concerned about, and to give you an easier time, at least in one of your classes this semester. So that's the course outline. There's probably other things that you'll have questions about. By all means, if you're at home, anytime you're at home learning and you want to send a chat message to me through Teams, or if you want to send me an email, and my email is on the course outline, so you'll be able to see that in your documents in your class notebook. You can email me questions as well, and I will get back to you as soon as I can on those questions. Hopefully the seconds after you ask them, unless I'm in the middle of a lecture. That'd be the only way I wouldn't get to it right away. So the expectation is every day you're at home, whether it's period 1 modern history or period 2 modern history, you are logging on Teams at the beginning, sending me a message and saying, Mr. Flynn, I am here. I will mark you present. If you don't do that, or if you forget to do that, you might be marked absent instead of present. So very important to check in with me. Every day I'm going to have a message on Teams that tells you what you should be working on at home and what the expectations are for you. Sometimes I leave you videos that I used to show under normal circumstances in class, but because we have so few classes, I'm making you watch those videos on your own at home. But I always give you the links that you can watch them, so you may be doing things like that at home as well. But either way, wherever you are, if you're at home, whatever you're working on, you need to check in with me at the beginning of each class so I can mark you present. Okay, so that's the 11-2 history outline. Of course, if you have any questions, make sure you ask. The next thing I'm going to be talking about in a little bit of detail are the historical thinking concepts. So as I mentioned in the introduction for the course, the focus of Modern History 11.2, Social Studies 10, Modern History 11.3 is going to be the historical thinking concepts. These are things that historians around the world collaborated on and decided that these are the 6 most important skills students should have coming out of history. But through my years teaching these skills, I realized these are skills that are really good to have no matter what course you're in, whether it's sciences, your English courses, your math courses. They all will help you be successful if you hone these skills. So the historical thinking concepts are skills that historians feel are necessary for a student to be able to think historically. Kind of self-explanatory, I guess. As a result, they're also the focus of Modern History 11.2, as I mentioned, Social Studies 10, and 11.3 History. The goal for this course is to teach you these 6 skills. The document below can be found in your Files tab of our teams. It's called Historical Thinking Concepts Guideposts. These documents will assist you in being successful with these skills. Again, the 6 skills, I'm going to start with the first one, historical significance. How do we decide what is important to learn about the past? Why do we study about World War I? Or why do we study about the Peloponnesian Wars or the Persian Wars? Or why do we study about the effects the Holocaust had on our society? We do it because they have an impact on us. Our world today is shaped by the history of whether it's Western Europe or the history of the ancient world. These things have shaped our world today. That's why we study them, so we can have a better understanding of our own world and our own selves. So historical significance, we decide what's important and what's significant in history based on how it impacts us. Historical evidence, it's great to have an opinion. Everyone has an opinion. All you have to do is go on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you kids use these days, and you'll see everyone has an opinion. But how many of those people with opinions have actual evidence to back it up? it's important if you have an opinion to back it up with evidence. Otherwise, your opinion is just water. It means nothing. It holds no purpose. So if you're doing an assignment and you're giving me an opinion or you're giving me an answer, support that answer with evidence. Without evidence, it's just rambling. So support it, and the better the evidence, the better the assignment. The stronger the evidence, the better the assignment is going to be. So evidence is very important. If you're going to have an opinion, have evidence. It's also very important to, if someone expresses an opinion and they give no evidence, well, it's a good idea to go research that to see if what they're saying is actually true. So evidence helps you with your own opinion, but it also helps give a stronger view of other people's opinions as well. The next historical thinking concept, continuity and change. There's an old saying that the more things change, the more they stay the same. Well, continuity change looks at that. How were things like in the past, and are they still the same in our present today? Have things changed? A perfect example of that is women's rights. In most of the history we're going to be looking at, women didn't have many rights, whether it's the ancient world, whether it's the modern world. For heaven's sakes, women in Canada have only been officially people under the law for about 100 years. That's crazy. So we can often look at history and how women are treated in the past, and we can still see those trends today. Now, mind you, we are making strides, but we have a heck of a long way to go before we have total equality between all people. So that's what continuity and change is all about. It's how things were in the past and how they've changed over time, if they've changed over time at all. Cause and consequence. Every consequence usually has a cause behind it. It's kind of like a science thing, physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Well, history's the same way. If there's an event, there's usually something that led to that event. So we'll be looking at the events that lead to events. So for my 11-2 students, next week we'll be looking at the French Revolution. We're going to look at what caused the French Revolution, what led the peasants to rise up and overthrow the king and overthrow the powers that be. Same with my social studies 10 students and modern history 11-3 students. We'll be looking at many things that we're going to look at the cause behind it. And understanding the causes helps us understand why things happen and why they unfolded as they did. It's a good skill to have even today. If something happens and we want to understand better, we need to look at what caused it in order to figure out why it happened. Historical perspectives is all about seeing history through the eyes of other people. So it's putting yourself in the shoes of people that lived history. It's getting rid of our present day morals and our present day judgments and putting ourselves in the shoes of the people who lived the history and trying to figure out why they would feel the way they did and why they did what they did. So historical perspectives is all about putting yourself in history and trying to think like people in history. Ethical dimensions. This is where we get to put our present day morals into history. We'll be looking at events in history that have questionable circumstances. And for instance, like in modern history 11-2, we'll be looking at the dropping of the atomic bombs on Japan that killed tens of thousands of people. We'll be looking at the ethical questions, were the Americans justified in dropping those? That is a very ethical question. It gives you a chance to put your own morals and your own points of view into an assignment and of course supporting with evidence. So those are your 6 historical thinking concepts. On the page in your class notebook, under historical thinking concepts, you're going to see a series of 6 videos. Each of those videos are less than 10 minutes. If you watch each of those videos on your own time, you're going to get a better understanding of the skills that I'm expecting you to have by the end of the semester. At the very end of that page on historical thinking concepts, you're going to see a rubric. Now this rubric is different for the grade 10s and my 11-3s, but for the most part, they're quite similar. For instance, in my 11-2 history class, if you want to get 5 out of 5 on your word count, you need to give me at least 225 words of good words for your answer. In my 11-3 and grade 10 classes, I'm only expecting 200 words. So if you're shooting for a 20 out of 20 on my assignments, then you're looking at the 225 words to get 5 out of 5. In terms of evidence, you have an extremely well-written and argued answer with at least 2 strong pieces of evidence. If you only have 1 strong piece of evidence, you're going to lose marks. There goes your chance out of 20 out of 20. But if you have 2 strong pieces of evidence, that, as the next one, it says explanation, you give me a really good thorough explanation of that evidence, you're going to do very well on your assignment. The evidence and explanation parts of the rubric make up half the mark. Finally, all students in all their historical thinking concept assignments have to make a connection to our modern world. You'll be looking at the information that we've studied, and you'll say, well, how does that relate to the modern world? Because there's no sense of studying history if you can't connect it to our modern day life. So that's very important. A lot of students in the past, that's the part they always forget to do, and they end up losing 4 or 5 marks because they don't make a connection. So make sure before you hand in an assignment, you have made a connection to our modern world. So that's the course in a nutshell. When Track B students are here on Monday, we're going to dive right into the course. I'm going to assume that you've all watched this video on the introduction so you have an idea of what's going on in class. So on Monday, 11-2s are going to start with the French Revolution. My Social Studies 10 students are going to start with early humans. And the 11-3 history students are going to start right into the Industrial Revolution. So be prepared, Track B students, when we come in on Monday, that you are ready to go, okay? And as usual, if you have any questions, make sure you ask me. That's why they pay me $2 an hour, so I can answer your questions. And don't forget, don't repeat yourself. That's what we don't want history to be repeated. That's another reason why we learn history. So until Monday, have a great weekend, and we'll see you then.